So is it primarily going to be the two of you?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to throw a whole wrench into your monkey works here.
Go for it.
Last week on Sailing Adrift,
This is the game plan.
we took you through our build-out plans for the Salon and V-berth. However, our plans have been contingent on one very key element, the support for our mast.
Let's talk about this, shall we?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
This is where the mast support used to live. We would like to move this mast support because it doesn't really go with our design. I just want someone that knows engineering and loads and things like that to tell me that that would be okay. You want to come on?
Sure.
Miraculously, we ended up finding a guy. This is Butch, and he's a professional rigger in the Portland metro area. So we invited him to drop by and take a look at what we're doing.
You're a rigger, but I would assume that bleeds over to all sorts of other stuff, right?
It does, just because I've been working on boats for so long.
Right.
I've done a bunch of things.
Butch spent about 2 hours with us, answering all types of questions.
We're trying to figure out what the hell this is for.
If anyone knows what this is for, that would be awesome.
This spike in the ground?
Yeah, basically it's threaded, and it used to have a wire coming out of it, but it was really, really brittle, and it broke off.
Oh, it could be an induced current, part of an induced current system.
What's that for?
A couple things.
What should I do with or about it?
You either do it and you do it right, or you don't do it at all. That's
Instrumentation.
my opinion.
Yeah. Simple. I just want it simple. Not fully. Also, completely open to the fact that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah, again, I'm ancient, and I remember when that sounding was a stick and later was a rock on the string.
Any reason to not use that? And if you were me, and I won't hold you to it, and I might not listen to you, but if you were me, what would you do?
I would listen to it.
Do they people like mount them next to the keel then?
Yeah, as long as it's a little bit off. So yeah, it's pretty common. I don't put house stuff on those.
Okay. Again, this is like honestly just a question. Why would you tighten all your stanchions?
There's nothing on this boat that isn't going to move.
Any reasons on functionality why that's not? Oh, pink vents.
Wow, you're all over the place.
I am. I have like a whole list of them.
He's asking the rigor tank vents.
Yeah.
Chris is about to pop the question. Here is our moment of truth.
We are definitely going to move it under the mast at a minimum, but I would love to move it back to about here and then mechanically fasten this to the bulkhead so it's not just sitting on top.
Sure.
And I'm hoping that that makes sense from a structural perspective.
Obviously, the more direct it can be, which it wasn't in the first place, that's what this guy is for. Exactly as a support beam. Right? There's support at two ends, so it's bridging the span.
Right.
So this is probably engineered for the load being somewhere near mid-span and supported at the two ends like the truss.
Okay.
So the closer you get to the base of the mast directly with the plumb line, the more support is going to be, the more the load is going to be taken straight down. So I would want to support it laterally a little bit.
Okay.
There's some kind of a vessel here, that distance or this distance. If it's less than this, it should be fine. The reason for the lateral support, I like it just in case there's any weird torsional load. Any kind of a fill-in structure here will help spread that load from here to here.
Okay.
Just in case it does, you get any kind of movement.
Cool. And do you think tying this like mechanically to the bulkhead is necessary
Yes,
or
that
warranted?
should all be tapped in.
This was such a relief to have confirmed. Now we can stay the course and keep moving forward with our design. Butch has been such a great resource and a huge help. He answered all of our questions and gave us some really solid advice.
I've seen too many people stuck in marinas or anchorages fixing shit while we're out cruising. And if it breaks, don't carry anything aboard that you can't fix or can't live without, in my opinion. Don't add a system to fix it or to work on a system to make something else work, because something down the road is just going to fail. Period.
I have to fight that inclination myself, is to like overcomplicate things. And then so like I'm a person that appreciates simplicity, but
You like complexity.
I tend towards it, so I have to like edit myself quite a bit.
It's easy to do, and I used to be the same way. I put way more stuff on our boat than I should have.
Psst. Did you notice our brand new step?
This spot right here used to be a step. There was a little bit of rod at the bottom and a little too much flex for my taste. So I went ahead and pulled it out, but this piece of plywood seems like it's pretty stout. So we're gonna leave it. I've spent a couple of days slowly building this thing. It's pretty darn substantial. This is like over an inch thick on both faces, because I know how much traffic is gonna go in and out of that space. I want to make sure it's going to work. It is kind of a tricky fit, but I've done this test fitting enough that we got it pretty much on lock. There we go. The trick will be making sure this stays upright while we epoxy it in place. So to do that, I'm going to use this and a couple of clamps. Let me show you. So there is a good sized lip underneath this piece that extends all the way clear back here, just to kind of hold this area up. You can see the old setup had screws. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to epoxy it in place. But in order for us to make it nice and sturdy and flush and level, we're going to need to clamp it, but my clamps don't quite reach all the way. So if I take this board and stick it right here and use a couple clamps, we should be okay. So let's try that. All right, moment of truth. Will it be level? Definitely not horrendous. Getting that end, this end up would be nice. How about when we do this? That is also, which means that dipping in. Let's check the face. Really not horrible considering. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit more fiddling with this and see if I can't get it better. But overall, it's not terrible.
Now you might be wondering, where's Kell? In a previous life, I grew up in a barn and have been around horses most of my life. Horses, much like boats, are very expensive hobbies. So instead of owning a horse, I have a friend who's willing to let me play with hers. This is Cole. And once in a while, I sneak away from the boat and we spend some quality time together. Cole is a true Mustang and was adopted from the BLM at 15 months by a lovely woman who's raised, trained, and loved him his whole life. He's had some time off while she's been finishing school, so I'm just giving him a quick tune-up and getting to know him before I bite the bullet, get on, and ride. Thinking we may need a few more sessions before we're considered safe. Now, back to the boat.
Alright, I think the best bet will be to break down and actually use these old screw holes. I mean, they're there anyway. We can use them temporarily. Before we get going, I want to clean up this substrate because your bond is only as good as what you're bonding to. And look at that. That's disgusting. Clean this off with some acetone. Ew. everything in place and add some of this soup. This is a substantial piece of wood. I'm impressed. I'm focusing it on the corner with a priority on this long stretch here so that we get good squeeze out in both directions. That is the goal. As much bonding surface area as we can get. I think we'll call that good. Let's get it in place. Alright, we're in place. I'm going to get some screws and try to get this as even as possible. Alright, there we go. Feels pretty substantial. Obviously don't want to walk on it yet. We'll let that firm up. I think we'll eventually end up painting it, but we would have the option to stain it because that's a nice piece of ash right there. Hopefully this ends up making it a lot more substantial. Plus we still have to tab this side in, tab that little bit in, and maybe put a piece of glass underneath there if I can get to it.
Ready for an apprehensive yet exciting final project for the day?
Sure.
We need a test just to see if that water tank fill works. So I'll go down below. Yeah, give you some water, and you fill it up from the deck.
All right, ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, I'm gonna come up and check. Okay, get it out of there.
Let's look.
Not good. What the f?
I'm gonna go turn the water off.
Okay. I'm a bit of a dipshit. I had Kelly filling up the wrong hose. It was totally my fault. So now, I'm gonna go turn the water on again. Up till now, there's no indication of plumbing leaks. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna come up and check on it. Oh, it sounds better in here. Yeah, I don't see any leaks coming through. That's good so far. Look at that. Stinks. Inside there stinks.
Preliminary woohoo.
Woohoo!
That only took 3 tries. Like all my jobs.
Hey you, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw and you want to keep following along, become a subscriber. Just hit that subscribe button below.
I can see your butt. This right there.
Do you have kids?
No. Yes, sometimes.
Part-time. Okay.
Yeah.
Part-time, that's kind of good. Yeah.
I think instead of a 1-inch PVC, we could just use this.
No. Nice butt. It's right there.